understand where you're coming from, and I respect it. However, Eli is playing the most important position in football, maybe the most important position in sports, in terms of it's not just based on production, but inspiration. That position has to have energy. That position has to go beyond the numbers. And what I see from Eli is not adequate numbers, not adequate production. Last night,
399 yards.
Yeah, 1 touchdown. We get judged by points, not necessarily between the 20s, but respect. And more importantly, the missed opportunities, the frustration that has now been muted in Odell Beckham Jr. from the conversation he had with John Mara and his public statements about Odell. And you can still see that growing frustration. Odell knowing he's open on the same play they practiced all week long and not getting hit on target.
8 for 143.
Respect. And guess what? Odell is a guy who's at an NFL record pace in terms of production. So when you say 8 for 143, Odell wants to see that every single week at minimum. Beyond the missed opportunities, beyond the lack of energy at the position, I see Eli Manning not stirring the pot as the team leader and facing this franchise for so many years and saying, hey, guys, rally behind me. Not only my production, but by my leadership. And if you put all those things together in that gumbo, it leads to all the criticism of Eli Manning.
You know what's interesting about the whole leadership aspect of this? Remember when Eli came in the league initially and it was like, this guy doesn't have enough juice. There's no energy. He's like Eeyore. And then he wins some championships, and it's, oh, the guy has ice water in his veins. His personality never changed. Right. That is who he is. I think you look at this team in general, and all you have to understand is on a 4th down play to go in to score, they chose to try to throw it as opposed to giving it to number 26. Wasn't that, like, was it the...
They ran some quarterback sneaks late,
Quarterback sneaks, 2 of them.
Horrible. And my issue is, you're telling me all I need to know if I read the tea leaves about what you think of your team. Our offensive line blows. We're not any good. Yeah. Now, I understand this from a player standpoint. There comes a time in everybody's career that you don't want to be hit anymore. Eli is there, right? I mean, there comes a time where...
Not last night.
But he played well. The concern to me, though, is the plays you don't make. Like, that's the concern for Eli. Like, they run that flat combination with it's a layered route with a flat to OBJ, gets his head around. It is wide open. Yes. That's the first read in the progression. 100% of the time you got to throw that, and you choose, for whatever reason, not to throw it. There's a couple slants that are wide open in the middle of the field where your timing is off. I think your timing is mostly off because you don't trust the guys in front of you. So it's sped up your mechanics. But I think the bigger issue is not Eli. I think the bigger issue, you spent $15 million on a left tackle who suddenly forgot how to block, and you don't have an offensive line that can protect your quarterback adequately. And as we get older, shoot, I don't know about you, Tony, but I was like, yeah, I'd rather not pull and have that collision. That's just me, you know. That's where I was.
Absolutely, and you know, that brings us to the point. That's the point I want to add to this conversation. Yeah, Eli missed some plays, but I think we have to, and yes, because Eli is getting older, it's clear that he's winding down. I would not be surprised if he retires at the end of this year. And because his lack of production, Odell Beckham cannot make those one-handed catches anymore. He's not doing that flashy stuff. He did it last night. I mean, he dropped the touchdown.
He dropped the 2-point conversion.
He dropped 2-point conversion, but we want to see Odell Beckham do this type of stuff. He wants to see himself do this type of stuff. Jerry Rice, when I was in the league and I was winding down my career, I could see it coming. I was on a bus with Jerry, and I said, hey, Jerry, when do you know it's done? And he said, well, I'm going to tell you about me, the way I look at it. He goes, play till the wheels fall off. And I started thinking, and then I went to, I talked to Warren Moon about it, and he's like, look, you probably should get out whenever you can. But he played till the wheels fall off. They had to cut him out of the league. And I said, well, I'm going to walk out. I made the decision to walk out on my terms, okay? I went to a Pro Bowl and still retired. This is what happens. When you decide to play till the wheels fall off, and you go past your prime and it's over,
the wheels fall off.
The wheels fall off, and you're going to get cut out of the league. And a lot of these guys, that you have to make that decision as a player. It could happen to LeBron James eventually. It's going to happen. It happened to Peyton Manning. He was not the same player. And I think right now Eli is not that 2-time Super Bowl champ anymore. He cannot make the throws like he used to. Those quarterback sneaks, he's got to be one of the worst athletes in the NFL right now.
Ever.
And that's not a knock against him. He's getting old.
Eli's tires have been slashed by that offensive line. Seriously. And again, I'm not sitting here saying Eli's a Pro Bowl quarterback, But I watched last night's game. And for people to come out of that game, oh, Eli stinks, Eli's in the way of Odell, that's just not true based on what happened last night. Eli stood in the pocket several times and took some hits. He got rid of the ball before the rush got there. But that offensive line from start to finish that entire game was horrible. Anytime you had that kind of downfield passing and you got that kid in the backfield, Saquon Barkley, and you can't open up any holes for him on a consistent basis, that offensive line is horrible. We've gone too far with the shredding of Eli Manning.
You think he's slick. I just heard you, too. In a vacuum, you just said, last night, Eli.
Yeah, last night.
This criticism's been going on for years of Eli. You wanted to halt because of one game? You're based on your record. You're based on your resume. And let's name some facts off of Eli's resume. Since he got into the league, he leads the league in turnovers, interceptions. And by 35 interceptions in second place, he leads that guy. Since 2013, 35th in completion percentage, 38th in passer rating. Last time I checked, there are only 32 teams. So that means some guys who don't even play that often get it out of there and perform better than Eli Manning in major statistical categories. The thing about Eli that is really damning right now, if you look at this, is he's in a position where he knows it's over in terms of his greatness is behind him, right? And he knows from his brother's experience, the best offensive lineman you could ever have is the quarterback. I played against Peyton Manning year in, year out. Outside of Tariq Glenn, give me the rest of those guys every single day. Send a limo, make sure they show up. Oh, I forgot. Peyton Manning's the quarterback. He's going to get rid of the ball. He's going to make the smart read. On that slant route, he's going to hit him in progression and pace and stride. And Eli continuously misses those, and then we're going to blame Odell, who saved Eli's career by giving him the energy and
Again,
juice.
I'm not blaming Odell. I'm blaming the offensive line. I personally know some of the Colts linemen during the Peyton Manning era, and they were a little bit better than what you're giving them credit for.
I will say this. One thing that ends up happening to you is the timing of routes and route progressions are all tied to the drops. And if you get to the point where you speed up your mechanics because you don't trust as a quarterback that your offensive line is going to be able to protect you, that timing of those route combinations and the throw of that quarterback is just going to be off. And that's where you see some of the inaccuracies that he has over the last couple of years.
Y'all keep, and again, I'm going to take his whole career in totality.
Well, let's go.
At no point did I ever watch Eli Manning and go, he's that dude. He's one of the 3 or 4 or 5 best quarterbacks in the NFL.
Yeah, that's real.
He's always been spotty. So you can list all his career interceptions, turnovers. That's who Eli has always been. Yeah. He's never been a guy that's carried the team. He was never his brother. And so all I'm saying is now we reach this point where, oh, my God, the New York Giants. And I'm watching this guy that every time he takes 2 steps back, there's almost a defensive lineman mirroring his steps into the backfield. You can't function. No quarterback can function with that little pass protection, that little run support from the running game. It can't happen. And so Eli played a very good game last night for Eli Manning. And for people to come out of this game as if last night was some proof that he's either holding the team back or Odell Beckham Jr. back, that's a joke to me.
Okay, let me apologize. I didn't play D-tackle. Jeff Saturday was a beast. But other than that, but the rest of them dudes.
They had a guy named Ryan Lilja.
Really?
He was very good. Trust me. He's from Kansas City. I followed his career.
I can tell he's from Kansas City.
Against him. You played against him.
Kansas City. The way you just gave him props like that. Oh, he may have been really good, but Glenn was the only one. You're basically going with the argument that he's been inconsistent his entire career.
Absolutely.
So why are we now exaggerating his inconsistencies? I think it's because he's got exposed after he got energized by Odell. When I throw the life raft out there in terms of NFL production at a record level at the receiver position, and Eli all of a sudden starts to get a little jolt of energy and plays well for games within the last 3 years, and then Odell with his injuries and last year missing so many games, it exposed Eli even more so, especially when the wheels are falling off. I think that's where
tires slashed. His tires have been slashed more than they've fallen off.
I hear you. All right.